Whew. Finally back with a new record review. What's going on, everybody? This is Sean of Raw Select Music. Today I want to talk about this record right here. This is Potatohead People, Nick and Astro's Guide to the Galaxy, released on Bastard Jazz in 2018. This was one of the records from 2018 that I really wanted to pick up, but I never got the chance to. It was sold out on Jet Set, which is where I primarily buy most of my records, and it was only by chance that by doing a little bit of digging on Amazon that I found a copy of it, and I was finally able to pick it up. I first learned about this record early last year through the featured track from this album, Morning Sun, featuring Nana B. And after that track, I kind of got hooked on this album. Since this album was so hard to get a hold of for so long, it quickly became one record that I had built a lot of hype for myself before I was able to pick it up. Now that I've had it for a while and given it quite a few listens, I wanted to share my thoughts and opinions of this record with you and let you know whether or not I think it's worth checking out. So with that little introduction out of the way, let's get into this guy. So first off, I gotta say that I don't really have a lot of history with Potatohead People. I've known about them for a little while, largely because I'm a fan of Bastard Jazz as a record label, and I can tell you that they are a Canadian duo that primarily specialize in making electronic infused hip-hop music, but electronic music in general. I'd also say that there's sort of an undercurrent of Dame Funk-esque boogie funk running through a lot of the tracks on here, so you can expect a lot of like sort of rubbery synths, but also there's some elements of J Dilla, some elements of chill hop mixed in with this record, and it really feels like this record sort of runs through a variety of different moods, whether it's a little bit more on the electronic side, a little bit more on the hip-hop side, a little bit more on the chill hop side, a little bit more on the sort of boogie funk side. Even one of the tracks on here does a pretty good job of sort of going after the sort of bass music and trap sort of sound. Coincidentally, that's actually one of my favorite tracks on this record. One of the biggest positives that I can take away from this record is no two tracks on here really feel the same. Pretty much throughout this entire record, there's a whole wide variety of sounds, and even after describing all the different influences and different aesthetics that run through this record, and no two tracks really feel the same. As far as an overall vibe to it, it's generally pretty mellow, but there are definitely some more upbeat and more hard-hitting moments on this record as well. It's a pretty varied listen. Some of the highlight tracks on here, like I said, the featured track that I heard from it, Morning Sun, featuring vocals from Nana B, was the track that actually sold me on this record, and it's a nice piece of smoky new soul with some really staggered drums, some nice jazzy keys to it, and it's just got this really good vibe to it. And one pitfall that it manages to avoid is the fact that it never feels like it's just sort of placid. The drums hit hard enough. The added texture of Nana B's vocals really help bring this track together and honestly make one of the best laid-back neo-soul tracks that I've heard in a while. Interestingly, Dilla J Dilla's brother, pops up on two tracks on here doing guest vocals, and they're actually pretty solid tracks. Tracks Do My Thing and All Alone, especially All Alone, which is another highlight track on this. Dilla J actually shows off that he's a pretty solid rapper. I wouldn't go as far as to say exceptional, but he does a pretty good job in servicing the tracks. The instrumentals, I think, kind of outshine him a little bit. Another highlight track on here for me is the song Returning the Flavor featuring Trehan Kaihatu. I sort of like the half-tempo, almost trap vibe that this track has going. I really sort of like the sort of up-tempo, uplifting vibe that this track has going for it, and it's a real boost of energy for this album. The last biggest highlight track on here for me is the last one, Rituals, which goes into this really dark, menacing territory and has some nice complementary drums and synths to go along with this sort of hauntingness of this track. My only complaint with it is I wish it was a hair longer, but I really like the vibe vibe that this track is going for, and kind of wish that Potatohead would move more in that direction with tracks in the future. Overall, I gotta say, there really isn't any huge blemishes on this record. Some of the tracks are a little less memorable than others. The only song that really ends up flat for me is the only track on here that really doesn't do anything for me is the track Lifting Up by K-Max, which I just really don't, I think it's probably more of a personal thing, but K-Max's overtly positive lyrics really don't help what's honestly sort of a flat production. This track honestly doesn't really do much for me. Overall, this record gets a pretty high recommendation if you're looking for something a little bit mellow, a little bit chilled out, and you're looking for just an overall solid hip-hop, neo-soul / electronic music album. You really can't go wrong with Potatohead people, Nick and Astro's Guide to the Galaxy. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching. If you've listened to this record, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. If you want to hear this record for yourself, please head over to my Steemit or WordPress blogs, because that's where I post musical links so you can check out records that I talk about in these videos. And as always, please head over to my Mixcloud so you can check out my ongoing Raw Select Radio series. Links for everything down in the description. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. So until then, peace out!